Cleopatra. Queen, politician, or propaganda victim. She wasn't just a queen. She was a strategist, a seductress, a scholar, and perhaps the most misunderstood woman in ancient history. Her name alone conjures images of golden headdresses, lavish banquets, and the seductive whisper of power in ancient Egypt. Cleopatra VII, ruler of the Nile, lover of Julius Caesar and Mark Antony, and the last pharaoh of Egypt, has been portrayed for centuries as either a femme fatale or a doomed romantic. But who was she really? Was Cleopatra truly the manipulative seductress Roman historians described? Or was she a brilliant political mind, demonized by her enemies in a war not just of swords and ships, but of narratives? In this deep dive, we peel back 2,000 years of propaganda, politics, and pop culture to uncover the real Cleopatra. Queen, politician, or propaganda victim. Stay with us. 1. A legacy of power and politics. Cleopatra was born in 69 BCE into the Ptolemaic dynasty. Greek rulers who had governed Egypt since Alexander the Great's general, Ptolemy I, took control after his death. Although she was Greek by blood, Cleopatra embraced Egyptian culture in a way no Ptolemaic ruler had before her. She spoke Egyptian, something even her predecessors hadn't done. She was fluent in multiple languages, some say up to 9, and was deeply educated in philosophy, astronomy, and medicine. From the very beginning, Cleopatra was not the passive beauty later Roman writers would suggest. She was a young woman navigating one of the most brutal, backstabbing courts in ancient history. When her father, Ptolemy XII, died, Cleopatra co-ruled with her brother, Ptolemy XIII, who was also her husband, following the bizarre customs of the time. But the power struggle didn't take long to erupt. By 48 BCE, her brother's advisors had forced her into exile. That's when opportunity arrived, in the form of a Roman general named Julius Caesar. 2. Caesar and Cleopatra, the politics of seduction. The famous tale of Cleopatra sneaking herself into Caesar's palace, possibly rolled in a carpet or linen sack, is legendary. But beyond the theatrics, what matters is why she did it. Cleopatra wasn't looking for love. She was seeking a military ally. And Caesar, embroiled in Rome's own civil war, saw value in Cleopatra's cause. Backed by Caesar, Cleopatra retook the throne. The pair's alliance became romantic, but it was also unmistakably political. Together, they had a son, Caesarion, and Cleopatra secured her position as Egypt's sovereign ruler. But to the Roman elite, particularly Caesar's enemies, Cleopatra wasn't a capable ruler defending her kingdom. She was a foreign temptress, a dangerous woman who had bewitched their mighty general. This is where the smear campaign begins. 3. The Roman propaganda machine. Rome was a republic that feared monarchy, and Cleopatra represented everything Rome distrusted. She was powerful, rich, foreign, and female. After Caesar's assassination in 44 BCE, Cleopatra returned to Egypt. But Rome would come knocking again, this time in the form of Mark Antony, Caesar's ally and successor in the East. Cleopatra and Antony's relationship became a new lightning rod for Roman political anxiety. Their partnership, again both romantic and strategic, threatened Octavian, Caesar's adopted heir in Rome. To beat them, Octavian didn't just use soldiers. He used stories. He painted Cleopatra as a seductress who had ensnared Antony, weakening him with luxury and lust. He claimed Antony was abandoning Roman values for Egyptian excess. In his speeches, he made Cleopatra the villain, a manipulator, a corrupter, and a foreign queen trying to seize Roman power. It worked. Octavian turned public opinion. He declared war on Cleopatra, not Antony. This was no accident. He understood that framing her as the main threat made Antony look like her puppet, not a rival leader. 4. The end of an empire. The final act came at the Battle of Actium in 31 BCE. Antony and Cleopatra's forces were defeated by Octavian's navy. A year later, both took their own lives, Cleopatra famously through the bite of an asp, although the truth remains uncertain. With her death, Egypt fell to Rome. Octavian became Augustus, the first emperor of Rome. And Cleopatra? Her image was sealed by those who hated and feared her. Roman poets and historians immortalized her as a siren, a harlot, a woman who brought great men to ruin. And those tales would endure for millennia. Shakespeare would later write of the barge she sat in like a burnished throne. And Hollywood would cast Elizabeth Taylor in eyeliner and silks. But these were reflections of the myth, not the woman. 5. Reclaiming Cleopatra. Modern historians are finally challenging the centuries-old narrative. Far from being just a seductress, Cleopatra was a monarch who held her kingdom together during a time of intense upheaval. She stabilized Egypt's economy. She negotiated with powerful foreign states. She launched military campaigns. She built alliances, outmaneuvered rivals, and governed a wealthy kingdom in a world dominated by male emperors and generals. Her relationships with Caesar and Antony were not the actions of a temptress, but of a tactician playing the most dangerous game of all, survival. So why was she remembered the way she was? Because history is written by the victors. And the victors, Rome, needed to vilify her to justify their conquest. Cleopatra wasn't just a casualty of war. She was a victim of narrative warfare. 6. Queen, politician, or propaganda victim. So where does the truth lie? Was Cleopatra the sensual queen of romantic tragedy, or the brilliant leader who refused to bow to Roman might? Was she a cunning political player, or simply a woman doing what was necessary to defend her people? Perhaps she was all of those things, and more, a complex figure living in extraordinary times. A woman who commanded empires, not with magic or seduction, but with strategy, charisma, and courage. History tried to bury her beneath rumors and poetry. But maybe, just maybe, it's time we finally see Cleopatra for who she really was. Now that you've seen the story behind the legend, we want to hear from you. Was Cleopatra a brilliant ruler smeared by Roman politics? Or did she truly wield her beauty as a weapon of statecraft? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's unravel history together. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. We've got more powerful stories of history's misunderstood figures coming soon. Thanks for watching, and remember, behind every legend is a truth waiting to be discovered.